The tourists on the boat didn't expect their calm whale-watching day to get so exciting. They saw a big whale from far away, which was safe. But one brave whale came close, swimming under the boat and popping up right next to them. When she opened her mouth, everyone screamed. In the late morning sun, the tiny dock at Spruce Harbor looked peaceful. Tourists gathered there, talking excitedly, while seagulls called loudly. But what caught everyone's eye was the beautiful boat waiting for them. It swayed gently in the water, ready to take them on a special trip to see amazing whales up close. The boat crew hurried around, checking ropes and making sure safety gear was stored correctly. Captain Kirk, an experienced sailor, watched from the bridge with affection. Despite his tough appearance, his crew called him the grizzled gentleman because of his kind nature. The tourists were a diverse group, a young family, adventurous students, a honeymooning couple, an elderly pair fulfilling a dream, and a writer seeking inspiration. They were all eager and a bit nervous. After 30 minutes of preparation, the boat set off, gliding smoothly through the sparkling blue waters. The tourists lined the railings, scanning the ocean. The atmosphere was thrilling, with the sun adding to the excitement, making everything look like a painting. Captain Kirk said the conditions were perfect. "You're lucky," he said with a smile. "Last week was foggy and many passengers didn't see much. But today, we're in for a treat." True to the captain's words, within a mere quarter of an hour into the journey, they spotted their first whale. A mere shadow at first, but as they approached, its enormity became apparent. A collective gasp rose from the deck as the whale breached, its massive body lifted almost entirely out of the water before crashing back down, sending a spectacular plume of spray into the air. The sight was breathtaking, the sheer power and grace of the creature both humbling and awe-inspiring. The boat slowed, maintaining a respectful distance, yet close enough for the tourists to witness the magnificence of the creature in its natural habitat. Cameras clicked, children pointed and laughed, and everyone watched in awe as the huge whale dipped under the water, only to come back up, spraying water into the air. People on the boat were amazed by the spectacle. Little did they know the day was far from over. The deep ocean held many secrets, and it seemed ready to reveal some of them that day. There was something else out there, something they weren't expecting. As the boat gently rocked on the waves and the whale disappeared into the deep, the tourists felt content. But as they say, the sea is full of surprises. The day, which had started with excitement, was about to get more adventurous. The whale had started it all, and it was acting strangely. Normally, whales were shy, but this one seemed different. It kept circling the boat, its huge body making their boat look small. Each time it surfaced, it left behind a whirlpool before reappearing. Its actions were deliberate, and Captain Kirk was intrigued. The whale seemed intent on interacting with the boat and its passengers. But why? Was it just curious, or was there more to it? Captain Kirk felt a bit uneasy as this behavior was unusual. The tourists were thrilled, taking pictures of every moment. They didn't notice the crew's concern. The whale fascinated them, and every move it made left them in awe. Then there was suspense. The whale went quiet and deep, leaving everyone waiting for its return. Minutes passed, feeling like hours, until the whale surfaced again, this time showing its massive mouth. Cameras flashed, capturing this rare sight. But it was not the enormity of its mouth that caused a collective gasp from those on board. It was what was captured on their cameras, a sight that sent a shockwave through the boat, leaving them in stunned silence. The whale's departure to the depths was almost unnoticed as they all reviewed their photographs. It was there, in each image, a sight that was not meant for human eyes. As the vessel bobbed uncertainly on the ocean's surface, the tourists were left bewildered, staring at the images they had captured. Their joyous excitement had morphed into screams as the whale opened its mouth. They were afraid that the whale would snap at them at first, but then they screamed because they saw something in the whale's mouth, something that clearly didn't belong there. A glinting object, large and oddly shaped. It was shiny and metallic, a stark contrast against the natural, organic interior of the whale's mouth. It was something man-made, no doubt about it, and the implications of this sight were staggering. "What is it?" murmured one of the tourists, a question echoed by everyone on board. Doubts and theories flowed among the tourists. Was it debris, a piece of a shipwreck, or something more sinister? Captain Kirk hushed the murmurs with a firm decision. "We're going back." The boat turned around, leaving behind the sight of the whale. But they did not foresee one thing, the curiosity of a young child. Right before they turned the boat around to get some distance between them and the whale, one little boy took it upon himself to investigate the shiny thing hanging from the whale's mouth. It was an 8-year-old child named Jack, and at the moment when no one was paying attention, he hung his body halfway overboard and snatched the mysterious shining object from the whale's mouth. The whale did not fight the urge of this boy to grab its object. It was almost like it wanted Jack to take it, like it wanted to leave behind a clue that would lead to a much bigger mystery. When they reached the harbor, Captain Kirk did his usual head count of passengers as they got off the boat. But this time, things were different. The excitement from seeing the whale had turned into a curious unease. Everyone was safe and accounted for, but something had changed since they left. Suddenly, a woman screamed and people moved aside to reveal Jack, a little boy, holding a shining golden trinket. The small piece reflected the sunlight beautifully, captivating everyone. Silence fell over the crowd as they stared at the artifact in Jack's hands. Captain Kirk approached Jack, amazed. "Where did you find this, Jack?" he asked. Jack shyly explained that the whale had given it to him. His words puzzled the crowd, but the captain felt a strange familiarity with the trinket. He asked Jack if he could examine it, and Jack agreed. The surface was engraved with intricate patterns and symbols. Captain Kirk took it home, unable to stop thinking about it all day. That night, Captain Kirk searched online and found a match. The trinket was a small part of a larger treasure stolen by pirates centuries ago. He was stunned and decided to consult a specialist. After some searching, he found an article by Dr. Agnes Walters, an expert in pirate history. The article detailed the stolen treasure and matched the trinket in his possession. Captain Kirk called Dr. Walters, who was intrigued by his story and wanted to see the artifact. Days later, at her office, she looked closely at the small item. It was a real piece of the legendary treasure, she confirmed, but how it ended up in the whale's mouth was a mystery. The news spread quickly in Spruce Harbor, and Jack's discovery became the talk of the town. Dr. Walters began working with Captain Kirk to solve the mystery. They embarked on a thrilling journey filled with ancient maps, riddles, and pirate stories. They came to believe that the pirate treasure must be buried nearby, possibly in the waters where Captain Kirk had been sailing. Captain Kirk assembled a team of skilled divers, including a marine archaeologist, Marines with salvage experience, and an expert in underwater surveying turned treasure hunter. They studied old maps and made plans for the expedition. Before setting sail again, the team found themselves on Captain Kirk's vessel, heading to where the whale was first seen. The atmosphere was tense with anticipation as they imagined the adventure ahead. When they arrived, the whale resurfaced almost instantly. It floated near the boat, its eyes seeming to watch them. Intrigued, the team slipped into the water one by one, following the whale into the depths. The huge whale led them, effortlessly swimming through the water. After about an hour, they saw something in the deep. An old shipwreck lay silently on the ocean floor. Their hearts raced as they approached it. The divers carefully searched around the wreck and were amazed to find a large chest buried in the sand. It was old and rusty, but inside they could see gold and valuable artifacts. It was like a scene from a storybook. They quickly set up a pulley system to bring the chest to the surface. As it broke the water's surface and was lifted onto the deck, they realized how big and heavy it was. The chest held the promise of incredible riches. After resting and calming down, they opened the chest. Inside were gold coins, jewelry, and other artifacts shining in the sunlight. The next week, Dr. Walters examined the treasure and estimated its value at $82 million. Everyone was stunned by the discovery. The news spread and people from all over became interested in Spruce Harbor. Captain Kirk and his team decided that the treasure belonged to the world, but they wanted something in return. They received a generous donation from the National Museum and gave them the treasure to display. The museum also gave them a finder's fee for protecting the waters where the treasure was found.